Okay. Welcome to Addressing Underserved Communities, our special plan still required debate. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll introduce myself and then I'll let everybody introduce themselves. I am Erin Sell, I'm the co-host of the NiFTy Chicks. My previous experience was as the producer of the Bad Crypto podcast and the NiFTy Show. I have been in this space for over 5 years. And recently, well, within the last couple years, really got into NFTs, started the NiFTy Chicks with my co-host who is not able to be here, JenFT, and we basically focus on women-led projects. So I'm gonna go ahead and let all of you lovely ladies introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the questions.
Okay, well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to meet you and meet you all, share the stage with you. My name is Ana Laura. I'm from Brazil. I come from the traditional financial market where we have like a huge difference with the representation of women. And when I left the TradFi to get into the DeFi, I realized it was even worse. So I created this project, which is a DAO. It's called Eve. And we are 10 women as founders. Live is one of the founders with me, and we have this main idea to encourage more women into blockchain and finance and everything. I also have a nonprofit organization that actually helps women in vulnerability in Brazil to aim professional goals. So this is what I do nowadays.
Hi everyone, my name is Caroline Johnova. I'm actually originally from Prague, Czech Republic, and so nice to be here in Lisbon here in Portugal. It's my third time, but I love the city. My background actually comes from traditional Web2 branding and marketing. I started around 6 years ago working with brands on their digital strategy, and sooner or later it actually transferred into the 3D strategy that, of course, they all have to keep up with. So this is sort of where my background comes from. I started my own agency and a company about a year and a half ago. We specialize in this sector as well, and we also bring creators the power to enhance their audience experience. Thank you.
Yay. Hi guys, my name is Elektra. I am a photographer and musician for almost 20 years now. And I have been in this space for 3 years. And I'm one of the founders of Eve. And that's it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Modja. I'm a musician and photographer. I'm also the co-founder of Code Green, which is an organization that aims to support social and climate justice. And I have been for 1 year and a half head of philanthropy at World of Women. So with my company Code Green, we independently ran their philanthropy, the strategy, and how to make the project one of the leading projects in philanthropy in the space. And I have been as well a climate activist. I'm a UN Goodwill Ambassador as well.
Thank you, ladies. That was great. So the first question I have was I really wanted to start with the title of this session, which is Addressing Underserved Communities. Do you think that we still need to have special plans? Just go in order.
Okay, let's go in order. Yeah, definitely we need to have special plans. I think there's a just huge lack of balance when we look into some minorities when it comes to the NFT world. When we projected Eve back in Brazil, like it was 2 years ago, one of the main partners, her name is Cynthia, she's not here today, she was like, look, this new world is being born, this NFT world, like it's full of technology and blockchain and finance, and we only have 4% of women representing it. Why can't we just try to improve this percentage of women when we look for the Brazilian market? And then we decided to build this group of studies and try to increase the women participation on it, which I think it's actually a great strategy when it comes to improving this amount of people that's outside of the universe commonly. Like we have more barriers when it comes to the understanding of the word because we're a part of it. Like, we don't have much women in Brazil working in finance. We don't have much women working in blockchain or technology. So when we encourage this group of women, and then we start to connect with other women, and then the friends and the sisters, and then the partners, and then everybody, we just encourage and help to bring this group that used to be like a minority into some more balanced ecosystem.
Great.
I definitely agree with that. I think I also just not looking only at women. I think in general, decentralized systems now with finance really deliver a whole different experience for people that are based, for instance, in the Philippines, Vietnam, third world countries, and to have a means of actually have a whole experience with games like Axie Infinity, to have an stream of income that would no longer be possible with the countries they are actually based in. So I think when we look in the minorities, necessarily based on gender, but also the geographical location of people worldwide. And I think there's just so much potential to still keep digging into this and providing more possibilities for people that are based in these particular countries.
Yeah, when we start Eve, we have a lot of women that was, I have these questions, these simple questions, but I am too shy to ask this to my brother, like men in general, you know. So we started with 10 women, then 100 women, you know, in our meetings. And it was super amazing to see then, like, I have a safe space here, you know, to ask for you girls. So I don't know if I... Como é que eu explico isso? Me ajuda, Ana. Explicar aqui, tipo, a gente... Sorry, my English is
No,
too
it's
bad.
okay. It's just that we're trying to improve and help each other when we just get this group of women.
Yes,
It's like,
yes.
it was really interesting because, like, we get women from every kind of job that they have. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then we're all together in a room, just like, do you have an NFT? Like, what's that? Do you have Bitcoin? Isn't that just too crazy to hold? Or like, no, I just heard the FTX case, so I don't want a Bitcoin on my wallet.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, no, wait a second. This is what it happens. This is how it looks
Yes.
like. This is how we get great artists, is to show their work to the world and come from a small town in Brazil and just to
Like
represent
catching them
the
by the
identities.
hand, you know?
Yeah, we take by the hand and then we lead the way, and then we actually build the way together. We don't
Yes.
lead anything. We're learning together, right?
Thank you, Ana.
I think that for the technology and also what we are building right now, we're building the future. And so it is super important that the foundation is made of diverse voices, gender-wise, also ethnicity, also locations. We have to make sure that all the voices are heard and that the space is diverse enough that everybody can find their place in it. So I think it's really important to look at the culture side of what we're building and the technology side, and also who is going to benefit from this. We cannot replicate what is happening in the world right now, the imbalances and the injustices, and also make sure that the values that we cherish in real life are also present in this. So we are building brick by brick, literally, what it's going to be tomorrow, what it is going to become. So I think that the conversation, more than ever, has to happen now. I'm sure it will keep happening because nothing is perfect, but we have to start in the best way possible, making sure that it is these underrepresented voices in the real world are not underrepresented here. We've seen that women have been we are present, but when you look at the numbers, it wasn't there. But also people of color, also minority group, LGBTQIA group. And so make sure that everybody is educated in this future world that we're building. And also, if we want it to be mainstream, we have to talk to everyone. And we want to bring them along. So to be able to do that, we have to educate them and carve some space for them to exist there, and rightfully so, you know.
So this is meant to be a debate, so I'm going to put some questions out there, and hopefully we'll have some differing opinions here. First, I just want to say, having been in this industry for over 5 years, really more crypto and then moving into NFTs, I definitely have seen an increase of females and other underserved communities coming into this space. So at least I do feel like we're making progress in that capacity. So I came up with, there's 5 challenges there's more than that, but main 5 challenges that underserved communities face in the NFT space. So I'm going to go through them one at a time, but I guess I want to know, do you agree or disagree, and why yes or no? So the first one is limited access to resources.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, like, when she also said about the possibility of bringing more space for people that are outsiders, we're not just talking about women, we're talking about other countries that don't have much opportunities to really get access to it. I mean, we know that Brazil has a great representation when it comes to NFT, but people don't really know what they're doing or what they're talking about. And most of people that come to me, they're like, which NFT do I need to buy to get more financial benefit in the future? And I'm like, this is not about that only. Of course you can have the benefit, but you have other opportunities. You have to have the sense of community. You have to have all these other great opportunities that the NFT brings to you when you're a holder of that. In the Eve project that we built, we want to bring the representation of beauty to every woman in every way. So size, color, stereotype, the hair type, the hair color, everything, skin color, everything. Like, what's the type of beauty? You don't have to have a pattern. So when it comes to some obstacles, we know that when you want only the financial result, maybe just buying an NFT or a super rare NFT, it's not what's going to give you that great opportunity in the end, but actually being a part of this movement where we actually want to bring and build all together. But people don't know that. So I think that the educational process is really important on the way too.
I think just talking about accessibility, the first thing that comes to mind is accessibility when it comes to internet connection. Do people in third world countries have the access to Wi-Fi? Do they actually have a laptop where they can create an NFT collection, mint the NFT, and all of that, right? I think we really need to cut down to the basics when it comes to accessibility and try to put our resources in a smart way to support these communities that no longer, or not at this moment have perhaps the access to it. I think one of my favorite projects that I actually worked with was with the UN, and it was on supporting refugees worldwide. We actually went through like a whole educational model with them over the 3 months, where we picked 150 refugees worldwide, globally, and educated them from delivering literally laptops to them, to their location, giving them access to its internet, giving them access to a wallet, and how does that whole process work for them, and how they can actually make a living, right? So literally the whole A to Z. And I think talking about accessibility, of course, knowing what NFT is, that's one part of it, but then having the means to actually be engaged in that environment is the other part that we shouldn't forget. So yes, absolutely, we need to pay attention to it.
So accessibility it's the most important thing. And with my organization, what we do is that we connect digital communities to communities living either on the edge of conflict, on the front line of climate change, or we connect communities in the Web3 space with people to have real impact. So the fundraising that we have been doing from the beginning, all the funds are going towards climate and social justice. And to do that, funding is super important to help them support their organization and make a change, but education is super important, how they can use this amazing new technology. And also, it's new, so they can build anything. We can build anything. So how are you going to create something that fits your business or your nonprofit organization or the change that you're trying to make. So everything that we do is about impact. And so accessibility is the first thing. And I'm African, and on the continent, a lot of people have access to internet on their mobile phone. Some places we don't have access to clean water and people still have internet. So with their mobile phones, we can reach them. So how, this is a power. How with this global movement, we're going to make sure that anybody who has an internet connection can understand what it is. For now, it has been a little bit complicated to understand the Web3, Web3, what does that mean? There are so many things. And NFTs, how do you explain it? So the education part is very important, to break it down to people, for them to make it more digestible, and for them to adapt it to their needs and their lives. And it's about art, but not only. It's about creating tools that people can use in their day-to-day life that can serve them in making their life easier and the world a better place. And so for that, I think that accessibility is super important, and it's even in the technical language, even in all this, the user experience has to be more simplified for people to be able to use it in the best way possible. But that's something that a lot of people are working on, and we see progress is, every month there's something new that makes it easier for us to understand or to use.
So this wasn't on my list of questions, so hopefully you guys can come up with something. But I'm curious, based on those answers, how do you get people who aren't necessarily interested in NFTs? Because I know I have lots of friends that I try to talk to about NFTs, and their eyes glaze over and they have zero interest. So any ideas for how you get people to understand and want to be involved or learn about it?
All right, I'll go. I think, the question is also, do they actually need to understand NFTs and how that all works on the technical level, right? Maybe we should actually start with the use cases directly towards them and how NFTs can help their life in a better way. So I think just approaching somebody who doesn't know anything about the technology, you should probably just ask them, what is your career path? What are your interests? Are you an artist? Are you this or that? And then based on their answer, you can actually create a use case directly for them. And that will, I would say, naturally raise their interest in that. And if they want to learn deep into the rabbit hole of technology, of course, there's always means and ways how they can educate themselves. But I think just delivering platforms that they can use for having a certain way of interaction with NFTs or even the technology itself, I think that's more of a priority. I don't know. It's been such an interesting time to be in this space and just seeing it evolving. And I remember just at the very beginning, everybody was very much explaining, how smart contract works, how can you actually create your own NFT collections and all of that. But I think, in Web2 world, you don't know how JavaScript works. I have no idea how I could develop my own website. I'm not a technical person, yet I still use it on a daily basis, right? So how can we skip that step and just create opportunities for people that will serve their own purpose? So.
I think we shouldn't stop at just the word NFTs. It's what it is for. Is it art? Is it a tool? Is it a membership? What is it used for? Because NFTs can be anything. And also, for some people who have zero ideas, when we say NFT, they think about JPEGs. Some JPEGs have a lot of power. And in the past year, in 2022, we've been able, with my organization, to, in partnership with World of Women, to build a school in Kenya. We've donated $2 million to different organizations to be able to, succeed in what they were doing. So, and that thanks to NFTs. So when you show people what you can do with NFTs, the impact that you can have and how it is used, it makes a lot of sense. But if they stop to just, okay, you love to collect JPEGs and it's in your wallet, and it doesn't give them they cannot see how wide the possibilities are with NFTs. It's a whole new world, and it can be used for so many different things. So I think that there was a lot of ignorance around it and a lot of sensational articles as well. But I think that with time passing by and also the culture developing, the Web3 culture that we are building and showing how impactful it can be, a lot of people are starting to change their minds, and we'll still have a long way to go, but it's new. So with everything new, in the beginning with internet, we couldn't do as much as we can do right now. I mean, we had to go to travel agency to book our tickets, to book the hotels and stuff. Now it's just a click away. So it's just something that we're building, and the more and more use cases, the more and more it will come into people's life without even them thinking about it as NFTs or whatnot.
Anyone else?
I think it's a hard question because we created 300 governance tokens, and it got sold out in 10 hours in Brazil, but I don't think that all the token holders actually know what it means. They were pretty much like, oh my God, that's such a FOMO, let's have it. And it's this project that aims to help women in Brazil and brings all this representativity about the different types of beauty, but it comes to a point where some part of everything that we earn through the NFTs are actually put into some projects that actually help women in vulnerability. So this nonprofit organization that I also founded is one of them, but some other projects. But the idea here is maybe try to tell the people who are actually token holders that this is an opportunity to be part of a community where we not only talk about finance, blockchain, or the Web 3.0 world, but better ideas to bring great impact, just like Nina said, which I think is really nice.
So I'm sure everyone in this room will agree that we are in somewhat of a bear market for NFTs. And a lot of collections have seen their floors drop. So how do you go about, getting people excited about getting into NFTs and spending their money with, what we're seeing in the industry currently?
Well, I'm just going to start with this one because coming from the traditional market, in a Latin country, we live bear markets all the time. So it's so hard to actually tell people to invest their money in anything, like even treasuries or fixed income or whatever. So people just don't actually save money. And it's even harder to talk to them about risky investments when it comes to NFTs. But I think what's happening right now is this new era of people who actually have interest in being part of the world and not only getting their money better for the future, but being a part of a cause. At the same time that you actually build your future with your own money. Like in Brazil, when you start getting money, where do you get your money on? And what are you going to invest it on? It's kind of complicated. And when you have to go to risky things to actually have some improvement, why not bring this risky part for your wallet where you actually can be a part of a community that's bringing some great impact for underserved community? So it's hard. It's not very simple to convince people, but I think that when it comes to the newest people, they're more into technology and more into what's happening in the world right now. So I think it's easier when we talk to the early stager investors.
I would say buy art that you really love, and no matter the floor, you'll always be satisfied with it, or invest in projects that you think are going to make a difference in the future, that are going to really create something new that doesn't exist. And I'm not a big trader. I think the only NFTs that I've ever sold are the art that I created. All the NFTs that I bought are in my wallets, and I've never traded them. And so it depends if you want to do a quick buck, or if you're in it. We're all going to make mistakes, But don't put your savings in NFTs to make a success story, because sometimes it turns out really bad. But I think there are some great things that are, being invented right now that will make an impact in all of our lives. But it's not the same as 2021, where it's just everything seemed like to be explosively positive. We are in a bear market, and we can see also the weakness of the system that we have been building. That helps us to do better and to reinforce those things. And I'm not buying right now unless I really love something. So I will never mind the floor price then.
I think just to add on that, I think we can probably all agree that we are very much in a luxurious position to be able to choose the project we actually want to invest in, right? And I think just if we think about it for a second, we should probably just think about what is the storytelling around that project. Do you actually truly believe in it, or which reasons are you actually investing your time and money to support that particular community? I think just thinking about that for a little bit longer than we used to, back in 2021, just throwing crypto around just to random things. I think now we actually have the power and the means in our hands to support the communities that matter the most, right? So just choose your projects wisely, actually believe in the storytelling and the spirit they have behind that, and then that's where you should put your focus. And I think vice versa on the community side, if you are creating a project, just target the people that are true to your meaning, right? Target the people that really believe in your mission. Target the people that will stay with you along the way and support you with your growth, because I think the landscape is very changing, and if you're not going to be directly searching for that, it's probably not going to happen really well for you as well. So yeah, search for the reason and the purpose in it, and put your money in what you believe in. So
Yeah, I think 2021, it was like lottery, I will just throw my money in all of those projects, and just maybe I will get this luck to be rich, I think now we have a lot of amazing projects with amazing technology, and we need to understand more about this, and then we will buy this or believe in this artist and buy this art. I think right now we need to know the project, know the artist, know the team, I think now it's about it, but 2021, it was just party. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Being realistic,
So there's a lot of, I guess, not bad news, but there's a lot of news around scams and bad people in NFTs, and people that aren't necessarily in the space see that, and of course, it makes them leery of wanting to get into the space. So how do we overcome that?
trust your people. No, I think, another really important thing to think about, all these scandals and all these scams, they make headlines, right? So the reason why the outside world is really seeing that is because it's making somebody a lot of money. So let's just try to focus less on the press and what is actually within the innovation in the space, because I think that's genuinely the revolutionary part. And I always try to explain this to the audience or to the people I know that are not inside the industry, how to really look outside of the box, how to forget, okay, people lost money, there's a lot of scams, okay, we understand. Every industry had that, like at the very beginning with the dot-com bubble. It was exactly the same, well, party, let's just say. But now we can absolutely completely just focus on the innovation part, explain it in a very, I would say, practical way, and just try to leave the tabloids on the side. Because the tabloids will always be there for the very wrong reasons, and we shouldn't be focusing on that.
Yeah, to complement, it's just like there are so many things that got into being a scam at some point that people got afraid. And when it comes to the crypto world, it's kind of complicated, but getting Carolyn's words, I just want to say that the crypto world is actually a huge revolution in every single way that we live our lives, in so many levels. And the connection level, into the technology that you buy things, where you get your hotels or how you get their smart contracts in every single transaction that you can make, or how you get the crypto world involved into the way you buy things, or whatever. It's not just the financial market, it's not just the art world, it's everywhere. It's how the blockchain can be implemented everywhere, in every single step that we take, from the moment that we wake up to the moment that we go to bed. And this revolution is already on. There's no way we're going back. So you either try to find the correct projects and being part of the investment, or you can get into some frauds along the way. I think a lot of people take advantage of that. And I totally agree with Caroline when she says that it's all about the headlines. If it's on the headlines, people are getting advantage somehow. So me, myself, I thought that FTX was very correct until it weren't. So it's also complicated to actually see the signs and understand what's actually going on. But I think that when you start with the purpose and understanding the technology, maybe it's easier for you to make it right.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of scam and fraud in real life, you know. It's not different. We need to understand what we will put our money, you know. I think in real life is not different from crypto world. So we need to, if it's too good to be true, don't click it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with what was said. And I think that with the user experience getting better and better, it will be harder to get scammed. I remember in the beginning when I would enter my number of credit card to buy online, I was just like, oh my God, is this the end of my bank account? Is somebody going to like just take off all of my money? But now we use our credit cards online without even thinking about it. It's made much more difficult for scammers to just like empty your bank account. So I think that it will get better. The wallet, scams have been, heartbreaking, but it will be more and more difficult for scammers to exist. They always find ways to kind of sneak in for now because it's the beginning and we are all in a learning curve. But with evolution, that as well will change. Now we have MetaMask. It didn't exist before. We'll have, more and more, better user experience and better product as well. But let's just leave time to people who are building this, time to create it, and that will be good.
So there are, everybody knows there's a ton of tools and resources and free resources. I mean, you can go on YouTube and spend days watching, how to create an NFT project for whichever platform you, want to create on. How do we let the underserved communities know that those free resources are out there and get them to start participating and being a part of all this? Anyone?
I think that when you were just asking about this question, in my head what was going on, I was just thinking about my journey as a company founder and how can I actually educate my future employees that are actually based in third world countries to be able to give them like the education and the means to be willing and be able to work in a web-free company. And I think I was actually working on this plan in my head. How can I educate them for completely remote work, deliver them, laptops or any equipment necessary that they can start working with me and learning this whole journey alongside with the company. And we came up sort of like with a 3-month program for them to completely enhance themselves in this journey. And I don't know, this is literally where my head is at. I think as a company founders or as the creators at the very front lines, we should just really educate the people around us closely, but also just try to involve them in the process, right? And the closest thing you can involve somebody is through actually hiring them and putting them within your business, but no matter where they are based. I think that's all possible. We don't have to stay in the smaller locations within Europe, US, of course, Dubai. We all know about that, but come on, we can look outside of these boxes and actually just reach out. You know, people are always looking for opportunities. People are always looking for work. Why don't we just take the next leap and the bigger step and try to just enhance them in the experience? I think that's probably for me the simplest way how I can educate somebody and also giving them opportunities.
So I think for the education part, there are a lot of people who are working on educating people who wants to learn more about it. There are a lot of communities like BFF or who do courses or who kind of share their knowledge. And I think the Sandbox, well, I don't think, I'm sure, the Sandbox has created space for people to learn about it. They have been donating funds to support education for underrepresented communities. And I think that the knowledge is more and more out there. People have to do their own research. And the more they will see what is happening in the space, how it's being impactful, the more people will want to know more about it. But there are podcasts, there are YouTube videos, there are so many tools right now to start understanding what it is. And I think learning is something that we should never stop doing. No matter how much knowledge, how long you've been in the space, you always need to learn to educate yourself. And it's out there, and it's going to be more and more. And we're going also physically in places where people don't have access to it. And I'm not worried about the education part. It's there.
So my question would be then, what are we doing to actually get people to learn? Because I feel like we're talking about it, but we're not necessarily, and people aren't taking action, right? So do you guys have ideas for how you actually get them into the space and interested in learning about it?
Yeah, in our case at Eve, we started doing this gathering like for 100 women. We started with 5, and then 25, and then 40, and then at sudden we had 100 women at this one of our founders' house, like ordering pizza, having wine, and one of us like in the front of the room and say, "This is an NFT. This is what happens. You should learn about it. You should know about it." And then at sudden, in the next week, we were just walking down the street, and there was somebody that I didn't know. Was like, "Oh, you don't know, I'm somebody's sister. She was at your house, or maybe Cynthia's house, or maybe Olivia's house, and she told me about the project. I really want to know when's the next one, when is the next gathering." And then we're actually empowering women into this ecosystem, like this huge blockchain universe through education. But a really close education. It's not like we're putting some courses online. We're not doing anything more than just getting them close to us and building this community together. Of course, we're part of several podcasts nowadays and talking about it and bringing this knowledge, and maybe the public Instagram or LinkedIn profiles also getting some articles on it or maybe some posts on it. But I think it's pretty much trying to impact people who is already outside our world, because people that's inside our world, it's kind of easier to get access to.
So what we have been doing in the past year and a half at Code Green is that by working with different non-profit organizations, while we are bringing them funding, we are also educating them on how to set up their wallet and all the basic knowledge that they need to know to be able to understand the space, and also how they can, as a nonprofit, use this technology to build up what they're doing. And also we've worked with eco-entrepreneurs, how they can use this for their businesses, and because everything that we do is around social and climate. So how this technology is going to be present in that. If it's the future, they need to start understanding. So every time that we partner with an organization, we did it for a whole year, and funding is absolutely necessary, but education always goes with it. And another thing that we've been doing is, in partnership with the Sandbox, we're creating a game. It's a play-to-heal game. So while we are creating the game experience, there is the play-to-earn system, but part of the funding goes to organizations to not only plant trees, but also restore communities and support them to give access to clean water to people. And during the game, while the player is, progressing, they learn things about climate, they learn things about, social causes and stuff. So by the end of the experience of the Healverse game, hopefully they will leave it with, more knowledge, and also, hopefully, the will to make an impact, to make a change in their own life, like changing little things. And so we really think that incorporating activism impact in game will be, we don't want to bore people to death. And so we want them to, as they are playing, to also be part of this. And so we partner with a UN agency that I'm a Goodwill Ambassador for, which is about combat desertification and about climate. And we are also officially partnering with UN SDG for their new campaign to use digital artwork and how they can use Web3 to touch, younger generation and really exist in this space. So it's about, bringing more and more people and using bigger and bigger platforms in different ways. We'll get different people in different ways. It's not one size fits all.
I love that, and I thank you. I just wanted to ask you one more question because I know you have to leave soon. She's got to go down and MC the main stage, right?
Yes.
So you mentioned something that I wanted to address, and that is My BFF. So when that project first came out, I feel like they did a great job of onboarding new people, because it was basically, for those of you that don't know, you get a BFF bracelet, and you could, I believe, if you got one, you could give one away, or you shared it with a friend or something like that. So I felt like they did a great job onboarding new people into the space.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's done now, because, now it's like, to buy a BFF, you have to go on, secondary market and buy. So how do we continue that?
So I've never worked with them directly. I'm just a holder of BFF, as I am of other communities, but I've seen them educating people through spaces. They are always creating spaces where they invite different voices to share about different topics, and there are other communities that are doing that as well. So I think that through spaces, there's a lot of education going on as well. A lot of yelling as well for other communities, which is sometimes fun to listen to in the morning when you wake up. But the education part is definitely present, and I talked about BFF because a lot of my friends who I had been talking about Web3 didn't get it with my explanations. But then they were like, I went to this onboarding, Zoom and stuff, and now I have a bracelet, and now I understand, and I'm going to do this and that with my business. So I felt that the onboarding was great. There are others doing that. So I think it's on us and people who want to educate to do it, and in different ways, and they create content that will stay for people to get knowledge from.
Great. Well, thank you. I don't know it's 5 if you want to go.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, before you go, do you want to share with everybody how to get in touch with you, like Twitter or whatever the best way is?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Ina Modja. I'm co-founder of Code Green. So you can find me on Twitter under the name of Ina Modja with 2 N. And Code Green as well. We are a team of passionate people around impact and always trying to make a change in the space, but also in real life.
Thank you.
And I'm really honored. It has been an honor to be on stage with you. And I'm not surprised that we're not debating because we are basically on the same level. We're fighting for the same thing. So I'm actually very, very happy and honored to have shared the space with you and meet me on the main stage later.
So another question I have here is, there are, where did, just lost what I was, examples. So there are obviously very many successful NFT projects. Some of them we mentioned, like My BFF. I think you may have mentioned Crypto Tech Women. I think they do a great job of educating. But can you think of any examples of specific projects that are targeting these underserved communities? And if so, what are they doing that we can learn from? Like, what are they doing that we can, take and put into other projects?
I didn't know the My BFF one. I thought it was amazing, like to really gift a person to get all this educational process about the NFT. That's really incredible. Maybe we should think about it there in our next collection. I really like Word of Women, though. I think they have this great project of a representation in women everywhere, and then when you're a token holder, you're part of this community that just brings this huge debates on the women level of being part of the construction of this new environment where technology is implemented everywhere. So that would be my example.
Like there's so many, I don't know, there's a lot of projects that are doing amazing things. I know, for instance, just before actually the panel, I was just looking in Doing Good, which is a platform essentially that supports artists with a greater impact, and all the collections that are on their platform, they have like an impact essentially direction. So I think checking some of these platforms out is really nice because then it gives you an overview of, okay, what is out there, and not only look at the top trending collections, because of course we all know them by name, but also to support the smaller ones that are doing more niche impact work in their specific field.
Yeah, I would say Word of Women too. I love all the project and the ideas. I think it's hard to a women project PFP, because the biggest part it's men in the space. So when they see this women PFP, they don't relate it with them, So I think for Word of Woman did so well in everything,
So that just brings up another question in my mind, speaking of PFPs. I have found, and this is just my experience, but I have found that people that are potentially founders or, in charge of projects, leaders, whatever, of projects, still sport male-led PFPs instead of their own female, women project PFPs. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have this idea that we're not competitors. We're just, we want everybody's help. Like the gender inequalities exist always in society. So what we're trying to do here is bring balance. So yeah, we also support the male PFPs, but we want to encourage more women to be PFPs. So
yeah.
I think that's the thing.
And I think in Web3, we can be anyone, like, so female PFP, male PFP, so whatever,
I think the whole idea of this whole ecosystem is not to put each other in boxes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
whether you have a male PFP or female PFP, or you have a monkey or, I don't know, a dinosaur, I think that shouldn't really matter, right? Because you can create your own identity, especially if it's a digital one. And I don't like to do the tribalism and take like different camps and just supporting one direction projects. I think we should just support all of each other and just grow in the same direction. Otherwise, we're a little bit doomed, right? So I think supporting each other, not really basing it into camps and categories, and just have your own identity. Whatever you feel comfortable with, that's what you can rock.
Yeah, and you just made me think about something else. It's pretty much like we got some critics along the way. It was like, you're only supporting women. Why are the debates only towards women? Why are you just empowering women? I really hope I don't have to do that anymore. Like, the idea is to empower the founders and the projects and the ideas and the NFTs and the artists and everything, not really the gender inequality. So when we're talking about the underserved communities, again, if we don't target the solution into the people that are not represented, we're not never bringing the balance out of it. So the idea is that we don't need to have the boxes anymore.
Yes.
I think we're still in boxes because that's the way it is. What we're trying to do is put everybody together into this huge and amazing community.
So speaking of gender, this is, I have done, I don't know, quite a few panels on women-led or women subject topics, I guess. And I don't know why, but this is always seems to be the way it is that it's all women on those panels or discussions. And it's always, I guess, a little curious to me why they don't put a man up here with us.
Yeah,
think-
that's a question for the organizers.
I think we should change that. We have like one free spot, like anyone from
Yeah.
the male in the
Please.
audience, please.
Okay.
I mean, I already got the thing, so I'm good.
What are your
Diversity.
thoughts on that?
I think that representation comes from involvement. And with all due respect to everybody up here and everything that the women in the space are doing, it's going to happen naturally. Like, all the technology for blockchain and NFTs is being developed constantly. Those opportunities for underserved communities are opening up on a regular basis, right? So I think what you said about that one by one, right? We bring people in by going to them and educating them and showing them. The opportunities exist for everybody, though. Did you have an actual question for a man? Because I can give you my perspective.
Do you want me to start from the beginning?
Here's what I find curious. And I think that the communities are well served. By the way, I'm Joel Comm. I host the Bad Crypto podcast and the longest running NFT podcast, The NiFTy Show, and have minted over 1.5 million NFTs. So I've been in this space for 6 years now and love watching everybody coming in now. It's like, this is really happening. I look at especially female PFP projects, and I've bought a number of them. And I look at the floor, and there is consistently the underrepresented communities. The minorities are always the PFPs that are on the floor. Why is that? It's because project founders are overrepresenting, in my opinion, those minorities, and there's not yet enough of those minorities to purchase those. And it ends up being a really bad look for those minorities, because why are those on the floor? How come the white girl's not on the floor? Why is the black girl the one on the floor? And I think they're almost trying too hard, and they're overproducing when we don't have enough of those minorities yet into the space. Am I wrong? I mean, as women, you see this as well, right?
Yeah, when it comes to Eve, again, it's the only thing that I can talk about like very consistently because it's the project that I'm a founder of. We try to encourage these underserved communities and in so many levels, which is also why we have so many token holders that are women, and being their first NFT investment, their first NFT project, and their first attempt to a Discord account, and being part of this, and being part of everything that we do together. So yeah, I think you're right when you talk about maybe being overrepresented, but the idea is maybe trying to get these underserved communities that we're actually trying to help into this ecosystem, but it's kind of hard. We said about some difficulties that we have to put these people inside this world. When it comes to our country, I think it's pretty much the internet lack of access and the educational process. And even though we talk about the people, it's like, I don't have the money to buy this. And come on, who here ever got an NFT into the wallet, it's not very simple. It's a huge process. Back in the day, you still had to buy the coins, like the crypto, and then you have to put it into your wallet, and then you buy the wallet, then everything's Web3, and then you can't miss your password. Everything's very complicated. It's not just okay, let's open an Instagram account and buy an NFT here.
I mean,
It's
it
not
is getting
very
easier.
simple.
A
It
lot
is.
I mean, not a lot, but some projects you can buy with a credit card now. So
Yeah, it's getting easier. The development of the ecosystems is just bringing this development into the way we can actually buy and hold the NFTs, but it's still complicated, and people don't want to lose money, and you can't guarantee that they're not going to lose money, but you can guarantee that they're getting inside this community where the debates are actually involved in them and improving their path into the society.
I would actually just love to ask you because, I totally agree that usually the ones that are shouting out of the rooftops about these topics are the minorities themselves, right? And because we have you here now, what is your point of view on flipping the switch? How can you actually, from your perspective, from your surrounding, support women and minorities of your own doing? Because I think just educating your male allies about that has so much greater impact than us sitting here and talking about it for 70 minutes.
I look at technology like this. You have your pioneers that are there at the beginning, then you have your early adopters, which is where we are with NFTs right now. People are drawn to that which you're interested in. You can't drag people clawing and screaming into a technology. The mass adoption part of the curve, where the millions and then tens of millions and hundreds of millions come in, is where those people are going to be reached. But I don't see a reason to try to force any community to have more representation. I think that's something that, as long as the opportunity is there for them, right? As long as nobody's being shut off from the technology, it's going to happen, it's going to occur on its own. Just like we're seeing in the beginning, there was CryptoPunks, and then there were apes, and then there was male PFPs, and now there's female PFPs, and we have diversity. It's happening. Is there anything else we can do than let things happen as they do in the natural world? Keep educating, keep talking, keep being welcoming to all people from all races, all creeds, all religions. And when they have questions, we answer them. And we tell them, this is how you do this, and this is how it can benefit you and your community.
I actually think that we are doing that, right? Yeah.
You are. You're doing it now. That's why when I look at this, are special plans still required? I wonder, well, what would those special plans be that we're not already doing? And by the way, you don't have to be shy. I think you're great.
I do have to, just a small shout out. I feel like I talk about them, or I have talked about them on many stages, and that's Everyday Shiro. I don't know if you guys have heard of this project, but she, Regina, is the founder, and she does Zoom calls one-on-one with people to bring them into the space, which I think is absolutely amazing, because, I mean, how much time and energy goes into that to, hand-hold people. I mean, she'll spend an hour on a Zoom call with somebody, teaching them how to set up a wallet and get their first NFT. And, I mean, I don't, she needs to learn how to scale that, because otherwise she doesn't get any sleep. But, I mean, how do we do more things like that?
I think, what I find really, really fascinating is to try to see what some of these use cases in a different industry, right? So my focus is events and experiences, and we tried over the past year and a half to create different experiences in the event industry for a completely different audience, so no knowledge about NFTs, Web3, and whatsoever, and we try to still create NFT-based experience for them. So while they are at a conference or while they are at a music festival, they can still enjoy these benefits, right? And we turn them essentially into a loyalty-based programs based on a blockchain, which made it really, really interesting for them, because they still don't understand how NFTs work, but they are using it with all these benefits and all these experiences. So naturally, you can reach more people because they enjoy it, and it's with the experience alongside of it. So I think maybe tapping into more different, industries, whether that's events or music, fashion, you can really reach a greater audience if you create the right use cases for them.
We know where this space is going, and y'all are going to end up leading the way. It happens with all kinds of commerce, right? Typically, statistically, men overwhelmingly build the technology, and then women go, oh, I can use that for something really brilliant. And then, not that there aren't women developing technology as well, but statistically it's more men. Then the women come in, and I mean, who uses Amazon more? It's got to be more women, I would say, buy statistically on Amazon than men. More women are going to create loyalty programs, physical goods that are tied to NFTs. I mean, the future is yours, and we're going to stand back and go, cool, what else can you make?
Yeah, the other thing that we did that I didn't mention is that we have like this great events. Of course, we are in Lisbon right now, but in Brazil, a lot of events like this happen. So we take some holders with us, with the founders of the project, and then we do some mentorships with them. So it's really interesting to also get this idea of improvement into communities. So you're talking holders, so you have access to us. One of the founders with us is the only female partner of an IPO company that works with blockchain. That's Beta Antunes. So she's like everywhere and helping all the other women who has interest in that subject. We also have the VP of marketing from TikTok, Latin America. She's one of the founders, so she also gives mentorship to this woman interested in the subject. So we try to get to create this sense of community also in that. Getting them very close to us in the nowadays, not just like somebody you see on a panel and you don't have any access to.
Great. So we are running out of time. So I want to have everybody answer just what do you think is the number one most important thing that we can do today, tomorrow, next week to help bring more people into the industry, and then share also the best way to stay in touch with you.
I think a really, really essential part, which I think we've been doing completely wrong, is we've been creating all these amazing products, but we suck at the UI and UX. So why don't we just keep the Web2 UI UX and build a backend with blockchain Web3? So I think that's one thing I wish that we will follow, all of us, all together, and that way we can bring more people into the mix, because it will be so natural and so easy for them to use, and they won't even know it's running on blockchain, right?
And best way to reach you?
Best way to reach me is on LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram. My name is Caroline Johnova, so on all these platforms, that's how I am.
The best way to connect with me is Twitter. My Twitter is Elektra, just like this. And Instagram, just Elektra. LinkedIn too, Elektra. And thank you guys for listening these amazing women. I'm so happy to be here. Sorry about my English, and that's it.
What's your question again? The first question? After COVID, I have some problems with my head. Like I'm always forgetting
the
things.
number one thing that we can do to start helping bring more people into this space.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much what we're doing. We talked about it every time, like create these projects, make these events, like do this very often, make people understand that this is not far revolution. We're living it. We talked very few about the Web 3.0, but it's already a reality also. Like when we hold back our privacy and our data and we actually keep this into this world that we live on, it's not more about the great industries and marketing industries and app industries. So I think it's just given this knowledge and keep in mind that we're very privileged about the knowledge that we have. So try to impact these other communities where they don't actually know anything about it, and that we should really empower. And how to contact me? Yes. Yeah, maybe LinkedIn's better. You can find me with Ana Laura Magalhães, which is the other last name, Barata. I also have a book in finance, so it's an easy way to find it with my name and Instagram as well.
All great answers, and I would say that whether you are creating something specifically for a minority group, whether you're an artist, whether you're developing technology, putting on events, whatever it is you're doing, just do it the best you can. That's how to move the space forward. Pursue excellence in everything that you do, and it's kind of like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. They are coming. They're on their way, and you're all early. You're all early. And check out the Bad Crypto podcast or the NiFTy show, or both.
Great. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I did just want to say, for me, you can find me at ECell or the NiFTy Chicks. That's NiFTy, NiFTy Chicks. So, thanks.
Thank you.